Pleasant day, everyone. Dr. Rudy here, your online teacher, trainer, and friend. For today's episode, we will cover the 8 tips for effective online learning. This will serve as a helpful resource for students, educators, teachers, and parents. For this one, we will cover first the first 3 tips so that our discussion will be very clear for the benefit of our students. You see, the new normal in education is dictated by the crisis brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. We now have learning management systems in schools and students learning outside the classroom in what we call the virtual learning environment. This table shows the 2 types of instruction in virtual learning. First, we have synchronous instruction and asynchronous instruction. By synchronous instruction, we mean learning in real time, wherein the learner, the teacher, and the learner's classmates interact in a virtual place through video conference, teleconference, live chat, live streaming lectures, and the like. On the other hand, asynchronous instruction is learning through online channels on the student's preferred time schedule. And here, the teacher provides learning materials and activities online, such as reading materials, PowerPoint slides, lecture videos, assignments, examinations, and the like. In our country, the main nature of virtual learning is asynchronous instruction, wherein the students will have their own preferred schedules to learn. Is online learning easy or difficult? Researchers show that it is relatively easy if managed by the learner well. What do we mean by this? Easy, even if it is technology-based, and even if it is quite comfortable, and many would think, oh, it's not easier to learn, inasmuch as students may be tempted to delay their coursework. They may procrastinate, and they will get stressed if they don't manage it very, very well. So whether online learning is easy or difficult depends on the student's attitude. If the student's attitude is good and he or she complies with the requirements for success, he or she should be engaged, meaning active in learning, participative, and collaborative, working well with the teacher and his or her classmates, then online learning would be easy. Added to this, the students must be technology savvy and must always maintain a proactive attitude. By proactive, we mean making things happen. And this requires strong sense of discipline and focus and a sustained motivation of oneself. You see, in online learning, you, our dear students, will mainly be on your own. Not like in classroom instruction where the teacher is there to monitor, where the teacher is there to see whether you are really learning or not. Here, you have some flexibility. You have some freedom, but you have to use this freedom very well in order to be very, very successful. Now, which type of virtual learner would you rather be? Would you like to be a happy learner, achieving his or her learning performance goals, or a stressful, problematic, and failing learner? The answer to this question depends on every student's choice. Our students in online learning must be consistently doing their best to achieve and be successful. In my leadership training, I always tell my attendees that it all depends on them. The same is true with online learning. If it's to be, it's up to me. Could we repeat that, everybody? If it's to be, it's up to me. We will cover in this episode the 8 tips for effective online learning. These include, number 1, to ensure a study area that is comfortable and really conducive for learning. Second, to set higher standards for learning goals and objectives. Third, to be well organized and build an effective study plan. These are the first 3 we will cover in this episode. And the others, which we will cover in part 2, are to stay focused and eliminate all forms of distractions to learning. Next, to maintain open communication with the online teacher. Added to that, to actively engage with the virtual classmates in a collaborative manner in line with the 4 C's of online learning. And of course, to beware of technology problems and take the necessary preventive actions to resolve this or even to prevent them before they happen. And of course, the last but not the least, to take breaks to refresh and renew one's energy. Okay, my dear students, let's now take the first one. To ensure a study area that is comfortable and conducive for learning. What should be the characteristics of a very good study area? This figure shows that the comfortable and conducive study area must have the following. It should support the study style and study routines of the student. Most of our students do not learn in the same way. Some can manage in an atmosphere of utmost silence, while others they find it fine to study in an atmosphere with some noise. Anyway, they can control their reaction to the noise. Others may need a wider space to learn. The others can work on a small table and still produce the same good results of learning. So number 1 says, the study area must support the individual student's style and study routines. Secondly, the study area must be available anytime and with a reliable or strong internet connection. Having this would prevent any technical glitches while you are learning. Number 3, it must be a neat area, quiet, organized, no books scattered in the area, and of course, free from any distractions to learning. Fourth, it is a study area that has the respect of family and friends when the student is on his or her study mode. No disturbances whatsoever, so the student can concentrate learning. And of course, students are required to turn off gadgets that are not being used for learning during the study time. And last but not the least, to log off from social networks. You see, our millennial generation, even our young people today, are usually engrossed with technology. So to prevent any distraction, it would be good that when we are in the study area, we should log off from all social networks. Tip number 2 says to set higher standards for learning goals and objectives. If the teacher gives you a project or homework to complete, when are you going to start doing it? Would it be a day before the deadline? Well, some people even risked being late for submission by starting to work on it on the day of the deadline itself. Higher standards for learning goals and objectives requires the students focus on quality. By this we mean doing the lesson, the homework, or the project right, correctly, the first time, all the time. This is good because it can save your time to correct mistakes. And not only that, it can also reduce or eliminate stress that comes with studying. Setting higher standards also requires that the students must aim higher or the highest if practicable. No room for complacency or an easy attitude. And to practice very good discipline for compliance. No procrastination. You see, one problem with online learning, if the student does not have discipline, is we have the tendency to procrastinate, to delay, to postpone. But that should not be. If we have good goals for learning, we can control this urge to be easy and really focus on the learning tasks. Setting higher standards for learning goals and objectives requires, therefore, that our students should aim higher, if not the highest. When they do so, they fall still high. For example, in any requirement, if we aim for the 100% for excellence, we may not achieve it, right? But if we don't achieve it, we still fall high. Maybe we don't achieve 100%, but we can achieve 90 or maybe up to 99%. But you look at it, if we aim low, the danger is we fall much lower. For example, if we aim only for an average score of say 83% or an average score of say 12 over 20 in an online quiz, the result would be worse. We get a score of 78 or even much lower, 75%. That's why it really makes sense to aim higher so that we fall still high rather than aim low and fall much lower. Setting higher goals and objectives also require that the student must study effectively. What is studying effectively? It is being focused on studying with the concern to start with the difficult first and the easy to follow after the difficult will have been completed. Start with the difficult, after that work on the easy. Many students are tempted to start with the easy. Until they lost energy, they have no more energy to do what's difficult. That is why, if we set our schedules for learning, it will be good that the difficult subjects should be in the morning, while the easier, and not so difficult subjects may be taken in the afternoon. Not only that, students, it would be a big help to you if you work smart. What is working smart? Working smart is doing the difficult on your prime time and the easy on your slow time. So what's your prime time? What's the time of the day in which you are with full energy, feeling fresh, ready to accept the challenge of learning? Usually that's in the morning, a few hours after waking up in the morning. And the slow time is usually after lunch. They say when the temperature goes down, people want to sleep, people want to relax more. That's slow time. And if we manage it very well, working smart can help us to complete the requirements of learning with much ease. It would also be good to review the goals of every time you start work on something. What's my goal for this? Will I complete this after 3 days? Or will I be able to complete it today so that I will have time for my other subjects tomorrow? How many days would I take to finish this research work? It's good to review your goals. Whatever you do, focus on your learning goals. And this would motivate you to do extra effort to complete the requirements with ease and just in time. Tip number 3 says, be well organized and build an effective study plan. Being well organized requires that we must be committed, disciplined, and well organized. Plan your study time very, very well. Keep reminders posted so you don't forget any deadlines or sort. Schedule blocks of time for your class and follow this schedule strictly. Meaning, you are not only well organized, you are efficient as well. So being well organized requires that we don't just find time, but we must make time. Finding time is risky, dangerous. If you say, oh, I have this activity to complete, but I will see if I can find time for it. Not good. Make time for it so that you can complete it on time. Secondly, to consistently or strictly follow your study schedules. Be responsible. If you set a schedule, stick to it. We say the tomorrow has problems of its own. Tomorrow, you will be busier with another subject, another course. So try your best to focus on what you have planned to do today. And thirdly, to begin work early to overcome difficulties. Working on the last hour is dangerous. You see, one risk in online learning are technical glitches. Sometimes the internet connection is not good. Sometimes we don't understand the instructions very well, and we need to clarify key points with the teacher. If you start on the day of the deadline, you have no more time to clarify points. You cannot get a good score. So you have to give some reserved time to ask the teacher, because it takes time to write to the teacher, and it takes also time for the teacher to reply. It's good, therefore, to begin your work early so that you can overcome whatever difficulties would come your way. Look at this figure that shows the advantages of being a well-organized learner. By being well-organized, you get the following benefits for yourself. First, you will finish the learning task without any confusion. You can focus. You will understand fully the instructions because you plan to really make time for learning. Secondly, you can achieve your learning goals and objectives. Third, you can maintain high learning efficiency, can finish on time, no procrastination, no delays, no late submissions. And fourth, you will complete class requirements easily, with ease and on time. And last but not the least, you can reduce the stress that comes to mismanage or poor learning habits. Effective study time management therefore requires that we plan well and set time limits and stay on schedule. If you plan to learn in your English subject for 2 hours, then see to it you follow your schedule. Do not postpone, do not delay it. Secondly, to maintain activities and deadline calendar, to keep yourself posted, to keep yourself aware of schedules and deadlines. Thirdly, to use to-do lists. Well-organized people have reminders to keep them aware of deadlines and requirements. And of course, to start early to reserve time for difficulties, whether difficulties in the lesson or difficulties brought by technical problems in learning online. And lastly, to submit requirements 1 day before the deadline. Wow! It's a very good habit of responsible and proactive students. The deadline is Tuesday. I should be able to finish the task by Monday and submit it a day before. It does not only make you feel relaxed that you have done your part, it creates a good image to the teachers as well. So here are some examples of helpful reminder tools. We have Electronic Task Manager. This one is on your phone, or you can see this in your iPad, like a calendar that is electronic. 2, using a personal diary and planner. 3, using post-its, short papers, small papers with short reminders. And of course, to-do lists, wherein you enumerate the targeted activities and deadlines for the day. My trainees in time management have learned from me that it's good to plan 1 day before. We don't plan on the day itself. Planning requires time, and it should be done in advance so that you can have enough time to make adjustments as necessary. Here is an example of a daily schedule which shows that learning online requires a good sense of balance. You see, online learning may be difficult, may be challenging, but with good planning, with good organization skills, you can schedule very well a balance of personal activities, home chores, study time, and other quality time to be spent with the family. It's not learning all day long. You have to schedule and follow this schedule as a guide for you to complete all your lessons and activities. So we have completed the first 3. The remaining 5 we will discuss in part 2. And in part 2 of our video, this is already available online as well, we can complete the 8 strategies for effective online learning. So we have already completed the first one, to ensure a study area that is comfortable and conducive for learning, meaning a good study atmosphere that helps learning, make learning easier. 2, to set higher standards for learning goals and objectives. And 3, to be well organized and be able to build an effective study plan. So this will be continued in our next video, which is already available online. Please search for our YouTube channel, Dr. Rudy Gonzalez, the video for part 2 with strategies 4 to 8 is already there for you.